Welcome to the channel Greatwomen. Today's video is on Work is Worship by SisterNivedita. Real action is in silent moments. In these few words, the great philosopher gives expression to a truth of profound meaning and of vital importance to man. The more we withdraw ourselves from the sense world, the stronger grows our power to know and to do, to endure and to enjoy. The infinite source of all knowledge, strength, and peace is at the opposite pole from the sense world, and our progress towards the one is measured by the degree of abstraction from the other. This is renunciation, and this is the path to immortal bliss. Unquenchable is the thirst in man for freedom. It is the one motive power that keeps going the machinery of the world. Whatever be the form in which it appeals to particular individuals or nations, it is ever present as the underlying spring of all activity. Experience makes us wise and opens our eyes to the truth that it is mad to look for freedom in the world of diversity. It is only heaping misery over misery, forging new links in the chain of bondage, to run after the objects that change and die, that court but only to betray. Real life begins when we die to the world of senses. We become immortal when we are veritable strangers in this land of death. What is night to all beings? Therein the wise man is awake. Where all beings are awake, that is the night of the sage who sees. Says the Gita, no wonder that spirituality will appear as insanity's trine to those whose minds cannot rise above the considerations of the flesh. To the earthbound, even the poet or the scientist is a queer specimen of humanity. They laugh at them and say, they spend in dreams and vain pursuits the time that they might have used to earn the wherewithal to enjoy the world to their heart's content. Yet it is the spiritual men that bring blessings to the world as none else can ever do. Whatever material comforts we may get, however deeply we may step ourselves in intellectual pleasure, so long as the flesh is subject to torment of disease, so long as grim and relentless death is master of all that are born, and above all, so long as the consuming fever of desire burns in the breast of man, so long there is no happiness, no rest, no peace. The great teachers of religion teach us how we can bid adieu forever to the world of senses and awaken us to something which is infinitely greater than that. When we realize the extent of our gain, we are filled with an overpowering sense of gratitude to them. We feel we have got an invaluable treasure, and that for nothing. Shall we not say then that the gift of the spiritual teachers is the highest gift that man can make to man? And this gift is the outcome of perfect abstraction from the sense world. This work is the greatest because it comes from perfect worklessness, perfect calm of mind brought on by severing itself from the discord elements of the external world brings the spiritual giants in direct touch with God. It saturates their soul through and through with divine illumination. All the perverse grains of nature are melted away, and they become one with purity, love, and blessedness. What power can hold them back from manifesting these supreme qualities in everything they do, in small matters as well as great, in eating or in walking, in contemplation or in religious discourse? They shed peace and benediction all around them, wherever they be. Truly has it been said that the means sadhana should be made one with the end, Siddhi. When, for instance, a man meditates upon his divine ideal, he should try to feel as intensely as he can that the ideal is reached, the consummation is attained, the moral virtues that are the distinguishing marks of a perfected saint have become part of his being. No more is weakness, no more is impurity, no more is misery or death from him. Likewise, one who wants to be a true karma yogin should try to bring his consciousness as much on a level with that of those who, as the great Sankaracharya poetically expresses it, bring blessings to humanity unasked and unrequited like the beautiful spring. Immeasurable is, therefore, our gain if we can get a glimpse of the consciousness of the great teachers of the world. Work we must, because that is our nature. But to work along with the current of our natural propensities is to make our bondage the tighter. Yet, if there is any way out of it, it must be through work, because we cannot get rid of it. Diverse are the ways that lead man to God. One may be more suitable for some than another, but there is none that is bestrewn with roses. Each has its particular difficulties. Karma Yoga may be easier than some other yogas for men who cannot completely cut themselves away from all ideas of work. But that too has its own thorns. We can work incessantly without much trouble, but when we want to work in the spirit of Karma Yoga, enormous difficulties seem to face us almost at every turn. Yet the unmistakable voice comes from within our heart that we are stronger than they, that we are sure to vanquish them if we are sincere and true to ourselves. The words of the great teachers also come to us and raise our drooping spirits, and by listening to them, we are inspired with confidence. But the war must be waged by ourselves. No fight, no victory, no exertion, no success. And to fight the enemy triumphantly, we must know its strength. We must know the nature of the difficulties if we want to surmount them. Forewarned is forearmed, says the proverb. One great danger of Karma Yoga is that it lapses into ordinary work. We may satisfy our natural craving for work, but we may imagine that we are performing Karma Yoga. Every work that brings success or gratifies our innate desire for work brings some satisfaction to the mind, and this we may easily mistake for the peace which religion begins. If we read the Gita between the lines, the one thought that strikes us as the keynote of Karma Yoga is that we should rise superior to all considerations as to the agreeableness or disagreeableness of our duties. Attraction for what is pleasant and aversion for the unpleasant are almost inseparable from human nature. But are they not at the root of all misery, ignorance, and evil? The Karma Yogin is therefore strongly advised to brush them away. He must be master of nature and not its slave. The human must be raised to the divine. What a hard task it is! If we keep our eyes open to the workings of our own minds, we find how the dread moral foes are trying to attack us by stealth every moment of our life. If for a second we are off our guard, we are under their sway. We slip. One mistake often tends towards another, and we know not to what a moment's inadvertence will lead us. If we sincerely try to carry into practice the secret of Karma Yoga as indicated, we find that it is impossible to do so unless we minimize to our own minds the worth of this world in terms of the senses. How can we help being influenced by the things of the world if they are substantial realities to us? Rightly has it been said, "Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." If we think that the things of the world are valuable, what can keep us from becoming their slaves? Again, the mind by its very nature is unable to alienate itself from the sense world unless it looks to something which is much greater, much more real, much more satisfying than the world. In other words, unless it meditates upon Him who is the one cause of all life, knowledge, and bliss. By being centered in God alone, can we keep unaffected by the ills of life, turn work into worship, and do real good to others. The many become manifestation of God when our consciousness is bathed in His light. And lastly, how can we meditate upon Him unless our heart feels a strong attraction towards Him, unless we love Him? Thus, we see that a true Karma Yogin must be perfectly pure, meditative, and a lover of God. All these must always live together, for religion brings about all-sided growth, and here again we look to the Gita for light.